Hello and welcome to the Bring a Mitt podcast. This is our second take trying to do the intro. This is a bonus episode today. We're doing a bonus episode on football because all three of us like football anyway. And we've reached the end of the season. We invited Craig along because he's a neutral supporter of football. He supports Wickham Wanderers. Hello, Craig. Tom and Rory are here as usual. Rory's the one with the softer voice. Tom's the one with the harder voice. Harder voice.
What? The harder voice.
I meant deeper, but it's just because I said softer.
The harder voice.
Anyway, today we're going to be the bulk of it is we're going to be discussing our team of the season. But at the end, we're probably going to round it off by deciding who we think would win the PFA Player of the Year season, in our opinion.
Wait, who we think will win it, or who we think should win it?
Well, it would be a bit of both, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Well, who I think will win it is different to who I think should win it.
Okay,
Really?
well,
No,
we could arrive at that bridge, but we'll probably touch on the depending on how much time's passed, we'll touch on the young player of the year as well season. I'm going to say that a lot. That's going to be very annoying. But just to get things started, the goalkeeper. There's quite a few actually. I'd say that the top 4/top 6 goalkeepers. A lot of them have been a few of them have been a bit hoo-ha. Kepa and De Gea at times. But in terms of the top 10 in general, I'd have said there's been actually quite a lot of competitors for this award.
I'd accept it.
I got three that I think
Same.
I would happily have put them in it.
I've got more than that. I think the general level is huge.
Yeah,
well,
it
it's
is.
really well.
To be fair, I would say that there's only one or two starting 11 goalkeepers in the whole league that I would say are bad.
Who would they be? Out of interest.
Well, Pickford, obviously.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to say Kepa's bad, but I'd say he's a bit below the level needed.
Yeah.
But I think every other team has a very good first choice keeper, and De Gea maybe. But
That's form rather than
he is. Yeah. But anyway, I'd say the three I was looking at, obviously Ederson, because I mean you don't just win. Edison. Sorry.
Is that Alisson and Edison?
Yeah. But you don't just win the Golden Glove for nothing. And I'd say Pope's had a very good season as well. But the one I went with was Henderson.
Yeah, I had my three were Pope, Henderson, and Dubravka actually.
Dubravka's a good shout.
Dubravka, when I looked, Dubravka had the most saves in the Premier League. I think it was by 20 or something like that. I don't, or maybe it's by 20 compared to the other two I had. But anyway, it was actually quite a big leap. And I had Henderson. Although Henderson, as much as he's had a very good, I looked at Pope and Henderson, and apparently they've got the worst pass accuracy or the worst distribution in the Premier League. Well, obviously it's going to be goalkeepers.
How they play
with Burnley's playing style, I think, rather than his
put
ability
it
to
up
play.
to the big forwards.
But
A good way of playing.
but is that an excuse for Sheffield United?
I don't know.
I don't really know.
I must admit, I haven't watched him that much.
But also, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to give that award to a team that play five at the back, or like kind of five at the back, because I thought.
But even that, it doesn't affect. Like, obviously they're going to be facing less shots, but it still doesn't affect how good of a keeper they are.
No, but I'm just thinking tiny variables to decide between a lot of good keepers, really. But anyway,
I had Pope as my solidified one, to be fair.
I think I would have decided on Pope, actually.
And then honourable mentions to Dubravka and Henderson. Those were the ones I looked at. And I also said Leno deserves some credit as well.
Oh, yeah, Leno was good, to be fair to him. Craig, what was your pick?
See, I went a bit different because when I first did it, I put down who I thought was definite, and I had Alisson in my relatively uneducated view. And then I looked at some deeper stats and stuff.
Yeah.
And the person who kept coming up, which really surprised me, was Hugo Lloris. In
Really?
A lot of wrong stats.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did he get injured, though? Because he's been injured for a little while.
He got injured very early against It was Brighton, wasn't it?
I suppose I didn't know how many games he played, so maybe it's a small sample size. But he's got his
Go on, Craig.
the shots on target. The shots that they face and how many goals should have been scored by them, and then how many goals they actually conceded. If you know what I mean.
He has been good. He has been good at times this season. I've noticed that he's been good because he was sort of around about the. It was weird because around about the time he won the World Cup, he wasn't actually the best keeper. Like he wasn't looking as good. But I think he's actually looked better now than he has in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, last season it looked like he was on the way out. And he was
Gazaniga was doing well, wasn't he? Gazaniga was actually doing enough to maintain that spot. But
was it last season that he got in trouble for drink driving and that kept him out? Because I swear that was when it was going wrong.
Yeah, that does sound like that did happen.
That's like Klein. Klein got dropped from the team for balloons. I've forgotten the medical term for that, or the
nitrous oxide.
Yeah, that's it. But anyway, him being dropped was probably the best thing that ever happened to us because we got Trent now.
Of course, yeah. So he had 10. He had 10. There was 10 goals that he should have conceded more than he did, apparently, according to this stat.
Oh wow!
And the second was Alex McCarthy from Southampton.
He's been. I had him in fantasy because
he's. That's what I'm saying. Like every team has a very, very good goalkeeper, bar like 1 or 2.
So, and then I went on who scored, and the highest rating on there was Leno, and he had lots of great stats and a terrible defence, so he had more to do. And he had one of the same percentage in the league as well. So I actually went with Leno here.
I remember seeing earlier in the season that other than him and Dubravka were right at the top at the number of saves. I don't know how far Leno has fallen down that since his injury. But
is 6th. He's 6th in the league in saves.
I thought you said 6. I was like, that's not many.
He's made 6 saves.
Yeah, he was second in the save percentage as well, Leno, behind Lloris. I think Leno.
Isn't Edison quite low? I was looking earlier on the saves. How many he's made? Probably down to his defence, to be fair.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's made many this year.
I've got
68. 68 saves all year.
I mean, if you're talking about City, you wouldn't put their defence as one of the best parts about them.
No, but he had the most clean sheets in the league, so
it's probably more the fact that they just keep the ball so well more than their defence.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So,
but I think me and Rory went for Pope, so I think that's the only agreement there. So
I'm happy to put Pope in there.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even come up on my things, but yeah, go for it. It has been very good and will be England's number 1 soon, won't he? So.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
A little bit of a trivia break because it's on the top of my trivia list, and it's completely irrelevant, so it's the best thing ever. Newcastle are the only team not to get a penalty this year. There's a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s. Newcastle haven't got a single penalty apparently.
I thought someone like St. Maximin up front, they would have at least got a couple.
I think that's been going on for a while. I'm sure it extends further back than this season as well. I've seen people moan about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think if there's been any really dodgy decisions or if it is just a case of play style. Because United get a lot, but I don't know if United really because most of the ones you see are genuine penalties. There's been a couple of hairy ones, but a lot of the ones you see are actually genuine penalties. But they've got a lot more than everyone else.
When you're dominating teams,
you're
going to get more penalties, aren't you? Because you're nearer the box.
Yeah,
Newcastle's been crap for a while, so.
Oh yeah, 100%.
While we're speaking of penalties, this was one I got 5 minutes before we started recording, and I didn't see how many he actually faced, but Henderson saved 50% of his penalties this season.
Really?
How many?
If he's faced 2, that's not as impressive.
I was about to ask what the sample size was. Yeah.
I'll have a look. I'll find out.
But anyway, while Craig's finding that out, shall we move on to the right backs?
Yeah. Well, I think pretty much all of us are going to agree. It's Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah,
okay. Thing is, I did put 3 down because, to be fair, there are 3 right backs here that might have won it any other season. That Trent wasn't. Well, we've got Wan-Bissaka and Ricardo Pereira. But
fair choices.
I mean, Wan-Bissaka. I'm actually surprised by this. Wan-Bissaka's 3rd for tackles made, which I thought he'd be top, to be honest. But
out of any position or just?
I think it was any position. But Ricardo Pereira has the most tackles. But he's also the most dribble pass defender at 1.9. So an aggressive defender, but in terms of attacking output, he's not quite at Trent's level, but he is sort of comparable to Trent as a player.
I mean,
I'm not sure he is, to be honest. Trent had the most touch in the league of anyone. Second in assists. I don't think anyone compares to Trent.
Oh well, I'm talking some. There are some
he had
stats
4
that
goals
might say
as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's different.
I mean, we can mention other right backs as much as we want, but it's Alexander-Arnold.
And
I think
above anyone.
There's 3 spaces in the defence that are going to be exactly the same as well, to be fair. It's just one.
Well, we'll see.
Hang on Dean Henderson, so he had 3 penalties against him. 1 was saved, 1 was scored, and 1 was missed. So
that's not that good then.
Fair enough.
So half of the ones that were on target, he saved.
Yeah, which is 50%.
It's still
better
pretty
than
good, I guess.
Yeah. Well, anyway, centre backs. I've got a couple of sort of. I'm going to say the honourable mentions first of all, because I think mentioning them after we pick our centre backs would just be a bit pathetic.
Yeah.
I've got Basham and Egan at the bottom. I think Basham had one of the highest 2 score ratings.
Yeah, he did.
But also, I don't know. I personally rate him quite a lot. I know that's not going to come into it very much because there's so many stats we've got. But I really enjoy watching Basham play. And
he's the middle one, isn't he? He's the one who sits back while the other 2 go forward.
Hovering.
Pretty sure he is.
But Bash. I don't know. Maybe a couple of these are more honourable mentions, but I think I just picked those 2 because I thought. Yeah, go on.
Well, you mentioned Egan. He was in my team because I just did a 4-3-3 to make it quite simple. He was my other centre back other than the obvious Van Dijk.
Yeah, obviously, Egan. Yeah, I'd have gone for Van Dijk. I haven't actually made a team. I've just got a long list at the moment. I'm kind of winging it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wrote Van Dijk at the top, which says pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But I think the 3 that most people would be sort of bringing up constantly is Soyuncu's a very popular one. Johnny Evans for a similar reason. But it's one that doesn't get mentioned, and I've got a couple of these written down. Just what I found and what I was reminded of is Bolly, from Watford, who actually has the same amount of clean sheets as Soyuncu, and in 12 less games.
Watford do have very good defence.
Still Wolves.
Wait. Sorry, that's what I meant.
I was about to say that.
I was a bit confused.
I was going to say, not Watford, not at all.
They have a terrible defence.
But he Bolly hasn't actually played all year. He's played 22 games maybe. But he's also when he's he's got the exact same clean sheets as Soyuncu, and he's played 12 less games, which I thought that's quite good. I mean,
I've got another one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll have. Tarkowski from Burnley.
I almost put him, and I didn't in the end. I didn't put him in the end.
He's top for clearances at centre back.
He's top for everything.
Oh, is he?
He's got more clearances, blocks, interceptions, and tackles than Van Dijk, which obviously is situational. And the fact
he's part of that 15 clean sheet thing, isn't he? It's not just the keeper.
Yeah, and also he played every minute of the season, and they conceded less goals than Chelsea, which obviously Chelsea's defence isn't great, but still. And second best who scored rating as well. So I think he's definitely in my.
Yeah, I'd go him.
Okay, yeah, no, I can agree.
I'm happy to.
I wouldn't have gone for it, but I can agree to it because.
Neither would I. But he came up on who scores straight away, and I looked into it a bit, and he's actually been really good.
So centre back partnership is Virgil van Dijk.
Obviously next to Van Dijk.
Van Dijk.
Yeah.
This one.
He's just the second best player in the league, really.
Yeah, he is. Definitely.
It's a bit annoying because I didn't write Tarkowski, so I've got to type it rather than just do a little star next to him. So that's effort.
How about thought you there,
Just see if I've got any trivia breaks. I don't think I have. Can't think of any yet. But if we move on swiftly on to left backs, I've got about 4 here. 2 are honourable mentions. Those are Chilwell and Digne. I don't think Chilwell. I think Chilwell might have been in for a shout, but he hasn't looked good for a lot of this season, in my opinion. He fell off quite a lot. Apparently he's got the most bad touches per game in terms of defenders, which that's probably not a stat you want.
Someone watching log each one, or do you think? Get that stat.
I mean, there's definitely people who are employed just for those sort of things.
Yeah, I know.
But
Absolutely tragic.
yeah.
It's like a bad touch.
But that's the only time I saw him come up on all of the stats I was looking at was that, which is
And Leicester have been terrible since the restart, and probably a little bit before as well. So
yeah.
that recency is kind of that won't help their cause in this.
I don't get how you're putting Digne in. From when I've seen him this season, I don't think he's been all that.
I don't
think he's great.
I didn't think much of him. It was just that I saw that he had the second most key passes for a defender behind Trent, which might have gone under the radar. I probably wouldn't. I still wouldn't go for him, but I thought it was something that might have gone under the radar, and there might be an Everton enthusiast here that might be able to.
You know full well there is an Everton enthusiast.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, okay, fine, fair.
So yeah, a couple of my honourable mentions are ones that I would have put high on a list if they played more, because I think someone like Tierney, he's been great every time he's played, but because of his injuries, he just hasn't had enough of an opportunity to put himself up there with the best. But every time he's played, he's been one of our best players.
Yeah, I can get behind that, I suppose. But anyone else got any more honourable mentions before we get into the?
No, he wrote down one name. Pretty straight.
Same. I only put one name.
You could chuck Saka there as an honourable mention, seeing as he played there for most of the season for us, but he wouldn't get in as the number one spot, so it's all relative.
Well, apparently it's going to be another. I actually had this as a genuine contender here. Well, it's probably not really, but seeing as everyone's saying there's only one name, I've got Rico down as well. He's got the most. He's got the most interceptions per game. I think maybe. I don't know if it's for defenders or in total, but he's got 3.1 per game, which I know straight away that's good, because that's like not many people see the ball that often.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Bournemouth got relegated and have a terrible defence. So.
But Robertson has 12 assists, so
he's clearly the best.
Yeah.
I didn't realise he was so close to Trent, because I think Robertson's been. Or has he been dropped more? No, he hasn't been dropped, but I think he hasn't looked anywhere near as good this season as he did last season. But he's ended up getting these kind of numbers anyway. And
I think Trent's a bit more flashy, so people notice it more.
Well, because he takes free kicks and set pieces, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They also have the most. He has the most touches, doesn't he? So obviously try and get it to Trent more than Robbo.
Yeah.
He starts more attacks as well, I think.
Oh, hang on. Okay, yeah, I've done it as the 4-3-3 subconsciously, and I don't think I've got as many names as I should here, because I thought.
For midfield?
Yeah, I thought some would be kind of obvious.
I've got 3 in the midfield, and then a couple that I just didn't put in, but I would mention.
Right.
Firstly, I think mentioning them, Grealish, he's got to be up there.
I put Grealish.
He's basically just saved Aston Villa this season. Without him, they would have been down at the bottom ages ago.
I think you
captain as well.
Yeah, I think I've put one of Leicester's midfield in my actual team, but all 3 of those main Leicester midfielders with Maddison and Didi and Tielemans, they've just been excellent all season.
I wouldn't put Tielemans anywhere near.
Well, I think any of them. All 3 of them could have made it.
I've got the other 2 there.
I did put one of them in there.
What in your actual team?
In my actual team, I've got 3 midfielders, and I put Ndidi in there.
Okay.
Every time I've watched him play, he's been excellent.
I've got him in my shouts anyway. I think Grealish you'd say is a left winger, but at the same time he's got 12 appearances, either as a cam or as an attacking midfielder or a centre mid.
Yeah,
I've shoved him in at centre midfield for me because I couldn't think of anyone else, and I kind of wanted him in the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's joint second after De Bruyne for key passes, 2.5 per game. So I mean that's crazy for a team like Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Who I'm not sure if this is the same in real life as it is on FIFA, but I think a key pass is the last pass until a shot that doesn't necessarily go in.
I think so.
Yeah.
so a potential assist. So that is, that might as well be an assist stat really, but it's not. And I think when you look at how many assists he's got, which I think is 6, maybe. Yes, he's got 6 assists. That's quite low considering how many key passes he's got. I think that just says everything that he has just carried.
Considering how bad Villa have been up top with their strikers this season, it's not overly surprising.
Was for the whole season, wasn't he? So.
Yeah.
If you take into account that John McGinn was injured all season as well, who comes up with assists and goals usually for them, it's even more impressive that he sort of put the team in his pack.
Yeah, he has. He's fully he's dragged them away from relegation, hasn't he? He probably deserves the place.
I also did have Maddison, who's joint second for. He's joint second with. He's joint second with Grealish for key passes per game at the 2.5.
I guess for mine, because I was saying that I would have happily put any of Leicester's 3 main midfielders in there. I guess I went for a bit more actual balance if this was a real team, which is why I put Ndidi in there, just so he could be the one that stays back.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, no, that does work.
I would assume that if we're all doing a midfield 3, we've got the two same midfielders in there, as well as someone else.
Yeah, I'm moving up the list. By the way, Maddison only had 3 assists. All those key passes, he only got 3 assists, which I thought was crazy. I don't know how that's happened.
Especially with someone like Vardy up top.
Oh,
Did Maddison get injured?
Oh, yeah, because he'll be key passes per game. So if he got injured, then that wouldn't mean much per the per game ratio.
He did play quite. I remember looking. I think he played 26, 27 games. That might be off, but I think he did play quite a few games.
I think he got injured in February or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would have been late because I remember him turning up on the highlights every single week without fail until it's distant memory.
Contract, hasn't he?
Let's be honest, February is such a distant memory for us now because it was such a long time ago. It's ridiculous. But has anyone got any more special mentions? Because I've got a big mention before, so I don't really want to say that until everyone's got their little shouts.
I didn't have main midfielders actually. I couldn't find 2 main midfielders who were doing that well.
Yeah,
really.
I
have a lot of strikers and a lot of wingers.
I've got a surprising.
Give Bruno a special mention. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I probably considered putting him in actually because he really did single-handedly drag Man United into the Champions League spot from nowhere.
Yeah. I didn't put him there just because I think it would be ridiculous to put someone who played for half a season in there.
Yeah, it's
actually
credible.
It was only 14 games in the end.
I think it's credible enough that that he's in for a shout. I think that's enough credit. Yeah, pretty much.
14 games, he did his absolute best to get in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. But
But my Rory, what about you? Because you're quiet at the back there.
What? As in who my 3 in the middle would be?
No, just sort of little shouts before we go into
No, just Bruno was my other one. I don't really have anyone else. I suppose you could say Mason Mount sort of announced himself this season a bit.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't put him anywhere near those ones.
Oh, Kovacic!
Yeah,
Kovacic. I haven't even written
I
Kovacic down.
I looked at some of his stats. He didn't seem to stand out that much. He must just have been one of those players you just watch him
he is.
the game and stuff without really being
Just does a job.
I noticed that with Jorginho as well. Obviously, I didn't watch a great amount of him play this season, but when I have watched him play, he has been really good in that midfield role.
If you picked out a part of the season, there was a part of the season where he was really good. I don't think he's been all that lately. I don't even know if he's played lately. I think it definitely hasn't been in the limelight.
He played in the Liverpool game, and obviously that was quite an open game, but he did a decent job against what is a great Liverpool team.
Yeah, Kovacic. I can't believe I forgot Kovacic, but I've also got David Silva here, which I don't want to try and be sentimental.
I was thinking of him.
I don't want to be sentimental. He's got 6 goals and 10 assists, which is that's definitely gone under the radar. I didn't realise he was doing that well because he's definitely he is one of those players not to get assists because he will often do the sort of the pass out to the wing or something like that, rather than the final pass into the middle or something like that, or. Because De Bruyne is definitely the person people give the ball to for him to do something magical or do a cross in that is perfect on a postage stamp. You don't really give it to David Silva for the final pass, but But anyway, that's a segue. De Bruyne is definitely in there, isn't he?
Yeah, De Bruyne's in there.
Yeah.
Well, the two that I said were 100% would be in there were Henderson and De Bruyne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got that too.
100%. Because, I mean, 20 is...
Henderson. But
You know...
Really? Oh,
but
blimey.
20 assists in a Premier League season is just insane. Like, ridiculous.
I had too many forward players to put Henderson in.
Yeah, fair
Oh, did
play.
Well, I mean, I could put Henderson in for Grealish, I suppose. I don't know. That's
My three are Henderson, De Bruyne, and Grealish.
I'd actually back Grealish,
Henderson,
you know.
De Bruyne and Didi.
I'd want to give Grealish the credit he deserves, because I feel like if he played for any kind of team,
man.
he'd be pushing a team. If he was playing for a
Yeah.
team that was 10th or 9th, like they'd be pushing for Europa League spots. 100%. In my
it's very
opinion.
good. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy if we're doing a 4-3-3. I'm happy to have the midfielders Henderson, De Bruyne, and Grealish.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm happy with that too. Right, and what are we? Left wing, right wing now? Right wing.
Three strikers
either.
up front, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, that's poor.
I can probably guess your three strikers.
Well, two strikers, one winger, and one of the strikers played in the winger this season.
Don't say what it is yet.
Yeah.
Are we
Well,
not? So
yeah,
are we
I've
just
got-
going for the forwards
I've
then?
got two wingers and a striker up front.
Are we just going to blend them all in then, all the attackers, or are we going to go right wing, striker, left wing?
I haven't really
I don't
got
think it has to
right
be
wing, to
set.
be honest. Just go wingers, go wide players first.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got
And then strikers.
a small shout for. I've got two right wingers which I thought should be mentioned, but maybe shouldn't get in. It's Mahrez and Adama Traore.
Yeah.
Fair,
Yeah, Mahrez kept coming up actually, and the stat apparently had 0.93 goals or assists per 90 minutes, which is
Wow.
very
So I've only got really one honourable mention, and it's really bad that they have to be put as an honourable mention considering how good they are. But Mane, but he just didn't get in as either of my wingers.
Really?
He's
That's
incredible.
surprising.
Nah.
got him for me.
I've got Salah who missed out for me. I had Mane over Salah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, between them, I was choosing between them as my other
Yeah.
one, but it's
I
you could go either. But I was looking at the stat. I prefer Mane, but I was just looking at the stats and the more assists and more goals for Salah, so I went for him.
I've got something on that for a bit, but maybe we'll just continue to look at the honourable mentions. Has anyone got any honourable mentions for
I haven't got a mention, but I've got a guy who I'm sure none of you will have and you'll hate in
What?
my team. You should probably get
who?
Raheem Sterling.
Oh, he's in mine.
Sterling's in my list. I haven't actually decided
Yeah.
my
No,
team
he's
yet.
in my team. He's been,
My two wingers are Sterling and Salah.
yeah, my Sterling and Mane, but same difference really.
think-
But Sterling's been unbelievable.
But he's 20 goals, isn't it, in the Premier League?
20 goals. He's got the same goal.
He's gone.
He's got the most non-penalty goals per 90 in the league, which I don't think means anything, but he's also got the second most goals per 90 minutes in the league, tied with Jamie Vardy. So it shows how well he's done there.
He's gone. It's surprising, but he's gone under the radar.
Yeah, I didn't realise he scored 20 gols.
He's been incredible, and after the restart, he's been incredible as well. Like him and Antonio, I think, have been the two main performers after the restart.
Yeah, and Bruno.
I still don't get. I'm not being funny, right? Antonio scored those 4 goals, but I know there were 4 goals, but none of them were good. Not a single one of them was good.
So,
I know.
Still
Okay.
growing the position.
Still happened.
still has to happen.
I know,
Yeah.
but can we not pretend he's been an amazing footballer? Can we just say, "Oh, well done, mate"?
But
He's been really good after the restart.
even outside of that game, he's scored a lot since the restart.
Have you been watching West Ham?
I haven't watched.
really good football.
I haven't watched every
Usually
game.
play.
Yeah,
It's been incredible.
they're probably the team I've watched most since the restart, actually, and he's really impressed me.
Okay, fine.
And he's scored a lot of goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's been
Strong,
really good.
fast, goal scorer. What's not to like?
yeah.
I mean, obviously, he's not near the team of the season, but
No,
just
no.
By the way, on the Sterling thing, I can't remember how long it was, but I think the reason he might have gone under the radar was because he did go through a drought. I don't know how long it was
he
for.
did. But he's,
Basically, even more
I think
impressive,
overall-
he then ended up with so many goals.
Oh yeah, no, like
what
in terms of
what
the
I did find
start,
surprising is he has, I think, 1 assist in the league. If I was reading
one
it
assist,
correctly.
yeah. One site said
Which
4,
is-
but I don't know what that. I think that's probably like penalty
It,
assists.
it's not great, especially when you compare him to people like Mane and Salah, who had I think Salah had 10, Mane had a bit under, but
It must be the
still,
system, right?
I'd put Sterling in there. Sorry,
Sterling.
I think.
Yeah,
I
I'd
think
put
the
the
way-
communist leader Stalin.
Yeah.
The way Sterling plays for City, he's always sort of lingering at the back post for attacking,
Yeah.
isn't he? He's not really
Yeah.
a crossing sort of player.
He's
Yeah.
a much better striker.
I think
Yeah.
the way I'd do it is I'd have, in terms of wingers. Oh, and actually, I'll probably say this first. Someone that went really under the radar because he had so many good stats was Buendia. He's a right midfielder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um,
Chances
Yeah,
created.
right.
He's second.
going under the radar just because of how dreadful they
They
were.
get relegated, so he can't have been that good.
He's yeah, but you could say the same about Grealish if they got relegated.
But
Like-
and he saved them almost single-handedly.
Okay,
I mean,
I know, but like you do
And
recognise
they
that.
should have. If you,
But
Norwich was so terrible.
but when anyway, Buendia was
Norwich were, but
he had the second most through balls, 4 for key passes, ahead of Trent. He had more key passes than Trent. Joint 11th for assists, which just I think it says everything. Imagine 4th for key passes and 11th for assists. And he also had the same amount of man of the match awards with Salah. Joint 4th with Salah. So
They
I mean,
played the team that were 14 points adrift at the bottom of the table.
yeah, but there's 2 teams, isn't there? If they get beaten all the time and he still gets man of the match, like I think that there's still something there, isn't there?
I suppose
Yeah, it's definitely impressive.
he's clearly pretty good.
Especially like I can't remember how far because Campbell and Pookie were getting all the headlines early on, but I think that the match of the day did a feature on him at one point, and then that was when he started getting recognised. But he still doesn't get really talked about in the big picture, considering he's probably had a better season than Adama Traore, for instance. But Adama Traore gets more.
Well,
He gets more because he's in a bigger team.
we talk about Norwich's defence, which was woeful, but they would have been like halfway through the season. Pookie just turned to absolute shit.
That was weird. He hasn't scored
Like-
that many goals, you know. That's what the
Yeah,
weird
like-
thing is, and he scored so
Scored,
many.
like,
And I think
7
that's
in the
that's
first
one of
few weeks, didn't
it's
they?
one of their main
And that was it.
that's one of their main reasons why they went down is just because they just stopped
And
scoring.
they were in the relegation zone for all but 6 weeks as well. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had minus 49. They're just a miserable team. And Buendia really there's nowhere near as good as people like Grealish and stuff because they can single, and even not as good as Traore.
Oh, no, I
If they
would-
put Traore in that team, they'd have been better than if they had
Oh,
Buendia in there.
nah, I don't
Easily.
think so. Not Adama. Adama Traore is one of those players where I think, he's been great this year, but he's definitely been overhyped.
They scored 26 goals in 38 games.
Adama Traore.
No,
No.
Norwich.
Oh right. Oh right.
Traore got 26 goals.
No, Norwich scored 26 goals also.
I
Yeah.
know.
Buendia should
That
be
is
in this
horrific.
discussion.
I know, but that is the same kind of thing as like. Do you remember when? Do you remember when Özil?
Three more goals than Vardy.
Do you remember when Özil? Do you remember when Özil was set to break the record and then Giroud went on a goal?
Oh yeah,
drought?
Giroud ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, same sort of concept. There's parallels there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like you can't blame. You've got to be able to blame the attackers finishing off the chances rather than just like Buendia's got that many key
I mean,
passes.
Buendia did all he could for a lot of it. He did
Yeah.
everything he could have. It's just everyone else let him down a bit.
Yeah, I get the point about the man of the matches. to
I
an extent.
understand why you've put him as an honourable mention. I wouldn't put him near the team of the season, like anywhere near it.
No, I don't think I would
But
either.
I understand why you're mentioned.
But yeah.
The two players I had as well, not wingers, but I had left forward and right forward, and I put Aubameyang and Mane
I would have
thought-
said Mane
Good
ahead of
shout.
Salah.
just to shove him in. And I think Mane was more of a big game player than Salah. Like
Yeah.
that goal, I don't know who you beat 1-0, but you needed to win the game, obviously, and it was a last minute. I think he took it down from a long ball and volleyed it in.
Oh
It was
yeah,
just like he was there exactly when you needed him to be.
I can't remember when that was, but
I
he
remember
came
that.
on as a sub as well. He wasn't actually starting.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, if you ask the average person, I think it'd be about 70-80% of people would say Mane ahead of Salah this season, and I do think that the gap is smaller between them than people say. I think
I definitely think, yeah.
I think Salah's a bit
I mean, they're
underrated.
both incredible.
I think Salah's a bit underrated, and Mane's been ever so slightly overrated this season. I think there's less distance than people say between them. But
In the grand
Mane,
scheme of things, I'd say Salah is underrated.
yeah, but I mean, okay,
That's
looking
why I put
specifically,
him like in.
looking specifically at stats, you'd have to say, okay, fair enough. Like Salah's got more stats, but Mane doesn't. First of all, Mane doesn't take penalties, which I don't know if this is where Craig's going to come in, but there's Salah got 3 pens, so without the pens it'd be 16 goals, which is 2 less than Mane. Mane's on 18 goals. It'd be on less assists. I'd admit that Salah's definitely a better creator than Mane. Well, not way better, but a better
Which
creator.
is funny because there's this idea that he's a very selfish player.
He isn't. He is at times, but
be.
he's got it in his locker.
He can be, yeah.
He's got some really nice passes in his locker, which they'll get noticed for one match of the day, and then everyone moves on. But a stat that I referenced earlier, Mane has 7 winners this season. So out of his 18 goals, 7 of them were goals that were needed to get us ahead or get us to a point where we won the game.
Yeah.
And
He's a big game player.
I think that's one thing we could say about Aubameyang as well is that I don't remember what the exact number was, but the amount of points he won Arsenal.
We were 15th.
I think we were like. There's one bit when we were like really early on in the season when we were like 4th or 5th or something, and it was like without his goals we would have been 18th.
Yeah, he's probably like the most out of place player in the entire league, maybe apart from
But apart
in terms of the rest of us.
before we move onto Aubameyang, the seven winners I was talking about with Mane, 3 of them were in the last 15 minutes. One was in the 90th minute, one was in the 77th minute, one was in the 81st minute. They were all like crucial winners while we were going, because we had a perfect record at one point for a very long time. Liverpool, that is.
I remember saying this early on in the league, is that despite how far ahead you were, you didn't play as well as you did last season.
I think the best football we played was while we were still under development from Klopp. That was when we played the best football.
When you were trying to chase Man City instead of having, obviously that's going to be a factor in it. When you're not chasing someone, you're gonna be a bit more relaxed and not play as well.
Liverpool.
I do think
we were potentially, if we didn't win that last game, Liverpool were potentially on a route to finish on less points than they did last season.
Yeah.
And we're about 20-something points ahead this season, and we're 1 point off winning the league last season, which is absolutely bonkers. I think everyone's kind of half mentioned strikers, but I've got quite a long list for strikers. I think it kind of developed over time.
I've got 3 main ones that I think, because I've got a list, like there's loads of strikers who played very well.
Yeah.
But I think the only ones that would actually be considered would be Ings, Vardy, and Aubameyang. Obviously,
okay, right, yeah.
Aubameyang has played left wing quite a lot of the season, but I would still say he's a striker. But if we're saying him at left wing, I would put him there over Sterling.
I think
I'm having Sterling over him.
I think Aguero would have been in the shout if he didn't get injured, because he was very good at the start of the season.
He still is in the shout. He scored almost a goal every 90 minutes.
Yeah, but you can't when he's 7 goals goals off Vardy and 6 off Ings and Aubameyang.
No, he doesn't get in my team, but still.
I think Vardy gets him for me.
I put Vardy in it, but I was so close to putting Ings just because of what he did for his team.
I've got them both.
For half the season, it looked like, maybe not half, but a lot of the season, it looked like they'd be going down, and I thought they would. And then, obviously, you've got to praise the manager, but Ings is a big reason for how they turned it around and did as well as they did.
Yeah, 100. I've got Ings, to be honest.
Yeah, I've got Danny as well, and
well, you put both, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he's the one who has to be in, because he had the most goals per 90 minutes in the entire league. Even when they lost 9-0 at Leicester, and then around that when they lost 5 games in a row, he scored 4 goals in those games. Like he's probably the main reason that Southampton actually stayed up.
Stayed up, yeah.
Like, I don't know. I say Vardy just because at 33 years old, to bring back the sort of scoring level that he has, because I think the last 2 seasons he's not been anywhere near, has he? In terms of goals scored,
he's done well, but he hasn't.
He's done well, but not
he's been
not-
reinvigorated
he's
this
sort of recaptured
season.
the form he had under Ranieri, hasn't he?
Yeah,
And
no,
he's
I
got
agree
later
with
in his
that.
career as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you spoke
A small
It
detail
was,
here.
that was
Small detail here. Vardy and Aubameyang 23 goals.
Aubameyang.
Yeah. Anyway, they're on 23 and 22 goals. Ings is on 22 goals, but Ings played 200 less minutes. Also only took one pen to Vardy's 4. And well, I don't know. I think there's something you've got to give credit to goals scored from open play compared to a penalty.
Yeah.
What's easy to score? Hang on. What's easy to score? A tap in from 2 yards, like Sterling's probably most of Sterling's goals probably were, or a penalty.
A tap in, 100%.
Exactly. There you go. So you're going to discredit all the tap ins?
I think I misunderstood that because I meant that to score a tap in, you have to be alert and you have to be ready and you have to get there. With a penalty, I know you have to be good at penalties, but you get given that every time. When a penalty happens, you are given that penalty. You're never given a tap in. You have to work towards that tap in. You could be in left back and still get the penalty. You don't contribute to
One
this.
thing I want to say about Ings that I think might go a bit under the radar, which I've used that phrase a lot this episode, but his footwork is incredible. Like I went for anyone who didn't know, I went to University of Southampton, so I saw quite a few games, and obviously bar the 9-0 Leicester game, when I watched him, his footwork is incredible, and a lot of the goals he scored were from positions that you just wouldn't expect.
It sounds like you're saying he's good at dancing. It really does.
He is though. He is good at dancing.
He probably is good at dancing with the way he's using his feet.
Have you seen that video of him shuffling? Any listeners right now, go and Google Danny Ings shuffling. He's actually decent. Oh, by the way, I've got two people here that we haven't mentioned, which is so pointless now. But Jimenez and Martial.
Jimenez, very good shout.
Rashford. I've got Rashford at left winger.
Greenwood as well, couldn't you?
Greenwood.
I wouldn't say.
Nah,
overall.
you can't.
As a
Similar to Bruno.
since same boat as Bruno. Like, he just hasn't played enough.
If it's just honourable mentions, I mean, I wouldn't say put him in.
Oh,
I think
okay,
he's in
yeah,
that
fair
same
enough,
territory as Martial and Thingy.
Yeah, if he played the whole season like he has so far, obviously he'd probably be in there. In fact,
honourable mentions. Chris Wood.
Chris Wood, yeah.
What a player.
Yeah, he's great. He's great, kind of like big and wide.
Unreal.
Big
There's like a
and wide.
2-month period when he was in my FPL team and he'd just be scoring every week, and I was like, you fucking legend.
I've got
I think we.
Bleep.
Hang on, I've got Gabriel Jesus has got the best expected goals in the entire league and the top non-penalty expected goals as well. And
Is that a good thing?
He scored 14 goals, I think,
Hang on.
20 starts.
Hang on, if your predominant stats are expected goals, that sounds like there's something missing in that ointment somewhere.
Ointment.
Goals, maybe could finish them.
He scored 14 goals in 21 starts. 7 assists.
So a goal or assist in every
per 90 minutes, he had 0.93 goals.
Okay, but how many times does he come off the bench? And it's again, everyone makes the same arguments, I know, but how many times?
Come off the bench? 13.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean is, like, if he's coming off against the bench and scoring all these goals, then a lot of it is just going to be against people who are losing their focus. Man City play around the box. Defenders start to lose their focus around the time subs come in. Like, it's less impressive than the stats say. Like, per 90 stats they're not gonna be fully contextual.
I've got another honourable mention. Tammy Abraham.
Oh yeah, of course.
Come up from the Championship, was banging in goals around the start of the season anyway. He dropped off a bit, but I think he got injured as well.
That's what you can expect from young players as well. Like, they're not going to be able to show the same consistency over a whole season as like the more experienced players. So to even do as well as he did is really impressive.
I think credit to him, but if you get dropped for Giroud, then you're
I mean,
only going to be.
Giroud's an underrated
He's
striker.
one of the most underrated players
Oh.
in the Premier League.
Yeah, okay, fine.
He's
Has been for
class.
about 5 years. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine, but we are talking about the best players in the league, aren't we?
Well, he scored. He scored like what was it? 5 in 5 or 7 in 7, something stupid like that since the restart.
Giroud, yeah.
That's why Abraham was dropped then.
Yeah, because he was really good.
That's the problem with Giroud, though. He'll go through those consistent
Really,
periods,
yeah.
and then he won't score for 6 months after that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't know. That stops you from being regarded as one of the best in the league.
But anyway, okay, so we're all agreed on Ings. Well, not all of us, but I think Ings has
Well,
been mentioned enough.
I put Vardy as my number one, but the more I think about it, the more I think I would put Ings in it to get one less goal in a much worse team.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I'd put him.
And then,
I don't mind Ings.
okay, outside of Ings, because you're all doing forwards, I did left wing, right wing striker. You're all doing forwards, I think. So what would be the second most?
I had Mane and Alba.
Vardy, Mane.
If we're putting Aubameyang as a left wing, which is what he played as for a lot of the season, I'd put Aubameyang, Ings, and Salah.
Right. So I think Vardy's in there as well.
I think Vardy won the Golden Boot. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't mind Vardy either. To be fair.
Okay.
I don't think Aubameyang's team came 8th.
Yeah. But
Yeah. Ings'
He
team.
he was a one-man team. I don't.
A lot less.
Have a good team around him.
I think I might actually have a tantrum if we put Aubameyang in ahead of Mane.
No, I'd go Mane over Aubameyang, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'd put Sterling over Mane, but yeah, I'm happy to go Mane.
I think Sterling's definitely in for a shout. But I think two more goals and 6 less assists, and also for a team that won the title with 23 points ahead.
Yeah. So
then
are we
it's
saying
enough.
Salah, Mane, and
No. We're
Vardy
saying Mane. No, we're saying Mane, Ings, and Vardy,
Yeah.
for our
Mane, Ings,
attackers.
and Vardy. Okay, yeah.
which is
I'm happy with that.
very lopsided, but allow it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. And
Yeah.
I don't know if
Oh yeah, fair play.
any of you put a manager, but I did, and I think it was only between 2, but I went with Wilder.
Yeah, I think. Well, it's
I mean, it's
between.
going to be him or Klopp.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think.
Are we only saying
What-
Premier League managers? Because
Yes, yes, we are, Craig.
for this one, yeah, Craig.
Mark Robbins as well.
Well, you're not having Dom Gape in the team, Craig.
But I think it's just arguably what Wilder did with Sheffield was
Sheffield.
more impressive.
What Sheffield was it? Tom?
United.
Good.
Where I think it was more impressive than what Klopp did with Liverpool.
Craig's a stickler, everyone.
Nah, Klopp.
No, I'm joking. I know you're right. What did you say, Rory?
I said Liverpool stormed the league this year. It has to be Klopp for me.
I think I'd have said Klopp, but my
yeah,
opinion's
just in the
irrelevant.
Prem, it's Klopp. Just in the Prem, it's Klopp.
I think.
League One.
Yeah, League One. Who would you go for, Craig?
Between Mark Robbins of Coventry
Sol Campbell?
and definitely not Sol Campbell. He had an impossible job. No one could have done it. Klopp got Southend. No one would have saved him.
Have a look at my Football Manager at the moment, Craig. I could have done it. I've got them in 4th.
Oh, well done. Did you take them over when they were
drawing
like 12 points
3-3.
Uh, basically, yeah.
adrift?
Stephen Humphries is banging him in for me. He's
He's
top,
good, he's
top tier. Right, we're on a tangent. Let's get
sorry.
back.
Well, would you like me to read the team out that we've decided on?
Yeah, go on.
So we have a goalkeeper of Nick Pope. Congratulations, Pope, if you're listening. We've got Trent
Yeah, well
Alexander-Arnold.
done, mate.
We've got Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back with Robertson on the other side. Van Dijk, and the only player in the defence that isn't a Liverpool player we've decided is Tarkowski, which I didn't think would do, but I can back it.
I think it's a good shout.
The centre mids we got covering for the bombing Robertson and Trent is Henderson, De Bruyne. Huh? Did I say Robinson? No, I think I said Robertson, to be honest. But anyway,
I can imagine Henry reading lineups for Sky News.
cheers. Well, let's just finish the podcast first. we've got De Bruyne, Henderson, and Grealish. We decided. So Henderson's got a lot on his plate on those fullback positions, covering both of them. But he can manage it because he's been unreal this season. And our attackers are, I think, are we going to go Vardy on right wing? Is that how it's going to work? Vardy on right wing with Mane in left wing.
He's still bloody quick for a 33-year-old.
Oh yeah, 100. Yeah, I mean it's weird, but yeah. And then we got Ings in the centre forward spot. So yeah, that's our team, ladies and gentlemen.
Klopp as manager.
Comment below on what you reckon should be what we put, what we didn't put that you think we should have put.
Comment.
Yeah, well,
comment on
not
where.
well, when we share it on Facebook, you can comment. Don't try and comment on Spotify.
Send us letters at our PO box.
Yeah.
I want a fax.
Don't give them our addresses. There's some crazy people out there. But anyway.
Yeah, send Henry a letter at.
No.
I don't know your address.
Good. Right. Anyway. I think we should do young player. We should do young player first. I just had a quick check of the rules. PFA young player is decided by someone who was 23 when the season started. So they can be 24. I think Sterling won it when he was 24.
Can we do it 21?
21? Oh, yeah.
How old's Trent? He's like.
Trent is 21, I think.
Okay, well it's Trent.
No, that's boring. Don't do established players.
I think.
Saka.
Yeah, you just want Saka.
I mean,
I was going to say Greenwood, Saka, or Foden.
the funny thing, it is just ridiculous how accomplished Trent is. That the rule is 23. We made it 21 so it could be more interesting, and it's still Trent. So we have to make it more interesting.
Can we make the rule 18-year-olds whose initials are B and S?
I didn't know Saka's first name begin would be, but can we really give it? Can we really give it to someone like Saka or Greenwood with Grealish in this?
I mean, obviously it's Trent.
No, but I'm talking.
As Rory said, that's boring.
Okay, fine. Our answer's Trent, but let's discuss second place.
Second place. How old's Abraham?
23.
23. Oh,
Yeah.
he's older than I thought.
But what about Grealish and because I know we got Foden, Saka.
Grealish is 24.
He's 24
Yeah, I was
now,
gonna
but he was
say.
23 at the start of the season. So he qualifies.
Grealish, yeah.
We've also got Rashford, obviously. Obviously Greenwood's been the best young player in my opinion since all the young players. Like Greenwood's just completely stolen all that limelight that you wish Saka had.
Maddison as a shout, 23 years old.
Yeah, I listed him, but I don't think he gets anywhere near anyone else.
I go Greenwood. I think
What ahead of?
Greenwood probably takes it.
Ahead
It's
of-
kind of Saka, yeah. He's had.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
he's
if we're
23,
disregarding Trent, I would say Greenwood.
he's captain as well. He's basically a senior player. I wouldn't call him a youth player.
Wait, who are we talking about now? What, Grealish?
Grealish.
Oh, okay. What about Rashford though? Because Rashford's been doing it all season. Rashford's.
Rashford's 23, isn't he, or something?
I don't actually know. I know he qualifies, but I forgot how
We
old
should
he
win
is.
it then. He should
Rashford
win it,
is
apart from,
22.
yeah, apart from Trent, he'd be second.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hope you enjoyed our discussion of who should win second place for Young Player of the Year or season.
Is there even a second place? Or do they just
No,
say who
no,
the
there
first
isn't.
is?
We
Just say who wins.
We just wanted conversation. That's why.
Fair enough.
But anyway, PFA Player of the Season. Which
No, Tom's gone.
oh, bye Tom.
No, he's back.
He's
I'm
back.
back.
Okay, great. So nominees for the Player of the Season. What would everyone have? Like, say top three, because we want to rattle out for too long.
That's it.
Top three: De Bruyne, Vardy, and Henderson.
Yeah, Rory.
De Bruyne, Henderson, probably Grealish. I'll give it Grealish.
Mine's De Bruyne, Van Dijk, and probably Mane or Ings.
God, you've got to have Henderson in.
No,
I'm sorry, you just have to.
No, he's not.
He was Liverpool's most important player.
It's not most important player though, is it?
He
I think he.
No, that's not the.
Probably was in the dressing room.
That's not. No, is that the name of the trophy?
Well,
Player
anyway.
of the year is the most valuable player.
Thanks for waiting for me to do my three, but my three is De Bruyne, Henderson, and probably Mane. But I think it's difficult. Like I wouldn't. That third one is a tough one.
I
For
mean, I think we can all agree that De Bruyne is probably the most easily deserved.
The thing that I've had a lot of conversations with this, and I genuinely think Henderson's in for a shout.
I mean, I would don't get me wrong. If Henderson won it, I would completely understand it.
I'm the same with De Bruyne. It's not though. That's the thing. It's not. Okay, I know Rory said about the dressing room, but it isn't just the dressing room. Like, there's been several times where like we've been countered, and apparently like on Who Scored it said we're weak against counters, but
yeah, fine, but you can't claim that he's even like the 5th best player in your team. He's probably not even the 11th best player in your squad.
No, he's not. He's probably.
Yeah, therefore he's not. But it's
but
it's not about who's technically the best player.
You can play above your station.
It's the player of the year. That's what it's called. Anything else?
Not easily, but you
player of the year. If it was player of the year, if player of the year meant who's technically the best player, it would go to De Bruyne every single season.
And it should, because he's the best player in the league. And it's
no,
player.
But you know that's ridiculous.
That was the best performer that year.
Yeah, the best performer, and he was, and he has been this year.
He's definitely.
I'm saying but that's.
And there's been about 4 other Liverpool players that performed better than Henderson.
That's not true though. I watch Liverpool every game. He's not that. Henderson is definitely, probably, I'd say, by even a distance, Henderson's been our most consistent performer.
I would say that Liverpool, if they take one player out of their team, it won't make as much as a difference. But if they take Henderson out of their team, it will make the biggest difference.
No.
Well, he is their captain.
Van Dijk's the best defender in the world and elevates all around.
Van Dijk's up there.
Team, they are in deep trouble, as seen before they bought Van Dijk and had to play Lovren or Skirtle or whoever other useless players there.
But I was saying earlier that our football hasn't been our football is not the same as it was a year, 2 years ago. It's not as free flowing. Like our game style this season.
Henderson wasn't playing.
Theoretically. Anyway,
which of their midfielders would you start over him?
All of them.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me.
You'd start Chamberlain over him.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Henderson has been our best midfielder this season by such a distance.
Along with Van Dijk, I think Henderson is the first name you'd want on the team sheet.
In terms of like, I mean, okay, I've got the stat here, and I didn't read it out during the team of the season discussions, but win rate without Henderson is 62.5%. Like, considering our season, he's missed I don't know how many games he's missed. 10 games, 8 games, something like that. With him, our win rate is 80%.
Fair enough.
Right. But
you realise my computer?
Is that you in that GIF?
No.
My computer's beeping every time you send GIFs, by the way, so stop it.
Sorry. They're quite funny, at least.
They're really funny.
But
the balloon.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting any of this.
Good.
Right. But anyway, also something that I found is.
I mean, Henry, let's be honest. Who's going to get this far into our podcast?
No one.
Right.
The answer's De Bruyne.
Yeah,
obviously.
It should be about 30.
I'm putting my big, heavy bear balls on the table and deciding it for you.
The thing is, right, Henderson and De Bruyne can't be in the same bit. They can't be first and second. Because if it's most valuable player, it should be Henderson. And if it's best player, it should be De Bruyne, and Henderson shouldn't be anywhere near it. But
the award is a mix of both.
Yeah.
I don't get how we've managed to
distinguish. It takes into account both, though.
I don't get how we managed to distinguish so much between importance and ability. I don't understand why one's relevant and one isn't.
Because Henderson is clearly good and on this award because of his, what's the word? Inspiration. Work ethic, inspiration for the rest of the team. Shouting a lot, being happy.
Shouting a lot.
Shouting's important.
Cuddling the young players and all that.
I'm not.
And frankly, if you
Check
replace
his hard drive.
it'd probably be alright.
All right, I'm not being funny though. If it was any other
From
sport,
the outside.
if it was any other sport, like you would put athletic ability in the same kind of conversation as technical ability. Like if it was like a javelin throw or something like that, you wouldn't just be like, oh, it's about the flourish. You'd be, oh, okay, he's a very good athlete, and that's why he's good.
Henry, what this comes down to is, do you think that Henderson should win it over De Bruyne?
I don't know. I think they're about. I think De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne. No, I don't. I think.
But he hasn't got the balls on the table.
I think De Bruyne. I think De Bruyne should win it by a slim margin. I think the fact that people are saying. I think the fact that people are saying it. Yeah, the fact. What I'm advocating for right now is that he's not even in the really in the conversation for some people. That's the only thing I. That's the only thing I object to. I think if De Bruyne won it, I really wouldn't mind. Van Dijk hasn't been.
The best players in the world.
Okay, but he hasn't been as important a performer as Henderson has. He makes more than
he's made a couple of mistakes.
He absolutely has. There's no way that you're telling me you'd rather take Henderson. You'd rather take Virgil van Dijk out of the Liverpool team than Henderson.
You're asking different questions now. You're asking like questions that haven't been asked. We're asking what the best player of the season is.
To be fair, if you're talking about most valuable player, then surely the most valuable one is the one you don't want to take out the team.
Which is Van Dijk and Trent as well. Trent and Van Dijk are both more valuable to Liverpool than Henderson. Trent
in general they are, but in terms of this season, like would our win rate have dropped 20% with any other player getting out of the team?
I think that's just a statistical anomaly. How many games did he not play?
Something like 8. I can't remember. It was like.
Definitely would have dropped 20% if Van Dijk had dropped out the team.
Yeah, easy at least. And also, wasn't that a lot of those games were after the title had been won, which they were always going to drop a bit.
Put it this way: we'd literally drawn one game. That was the only points we'd dropped, and then Henderson got injured, and then we started losing and drawing games immediately.
And that also coincided with you winning the league, which meant that intensity.
But we hadn't won the league. There's a dozen different moments you could pick out as when Liverpool won the league. There's dozens. There's when we beat Man City. There's certain games where we thought we were going to lose. There was maybe a game week where City dropped points. There's so many moments where you could pick out where we won the league, but that never.
What was the moment where you actually won the league?
Well, that Henderson was fine by then though.
Was he injured out for the season?
No, he wasn't. He had a knee injury and a hamstring injury. One was like. And I think he was. I can't remember. I think he was out for when we had that dodgy game against West Ham, which we only just won, and then we lost the next game. I think against Watford, 3-0, and Henderson wasn't there for either of those games. And then we won against Bournemouth, I think 2-1. Of that, and that was a dodgy game too. We just started playing way worse.
Right, can we wrap up and give a definitive answer here? Because this is like a PS4 party at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's the look we're going for, Rory. So.
Alright, well, pick one.
Well, I'm going Henderson, but I'm going our voting.
Well,
so it's fine.
us three are saying De Bruyne, so it's De Bruyne.
Right, fine, cool. Thanks for the podcast. Right. Thanks for coming to the podcast.
Thanks everyone for listening. Not sure if you made it this far, but if you did, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'll be surprised.
Cheers.
We've loved your company.
In fact, tell us if you got this far. Thanks for coming.
All right.
Bye.
Well, thanks for listening.
See you later.